Hi, I'm Carole Robinson. Welcome to this edition of County Happenings, where we find out all the things that are happening in the county. And according to the county mayor, Rogers Anderson, there's a lot.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Wanted to wake you up.
These pre-show entertainment spots are really getting good.
Well, you know, oftentimes we rely on the boys and the men in the studio not to print everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of trust here.
Lots of things happening.
Yeah, and everybody's busy getting ready for the fair. Big things coming on.
The first Friday.
You gonna wear your hula hoop skirt?
You know, the first Friday in the month of August, which we know it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We just got to get used to it. It's our 9th year, and the theme this year is Rock Around the Fair.
Mm-hmm. Poodle skirts and all.
Poodle skirts and all. And I just was at one of the fair meetings just recently, and they're having a poodle skirt entry. And then on the first Saturday night, that would be August the 3rd, I think. I don't have a calendar right in front of me. They've got a band coming in, and they're having a sock hop. And they're encouraging the men to wear the things they would wear in the 50s, 60s, and 70s era.
T-shirt with the rolled-up cigarettes.
I'm sure all of that is part of it, in the blue jeans and the saddle.
I don't know how many of these guys really can fit into that kind of stuff.
Now, we could say that same thing about the female gender.
Definitely. I'm not wearing any poodle skirts.
They're talking about encouraging people to do poodle skirts and some of the attire that the young ladies wore back in that era. And of course, that's my era. And it's going to be interesting. You know, there'll be some there that are dressed apart, but I know that our fair volunteers and our organization, which is a 501c3, has worked very hard. There's lots of paraphernalia, posters and decor being either purchased, drawn up, or made to present at the fair.
This, like last year's, is an easy theme to have a lot of fun with.
It's in the culinary arts area, over in the canning area, and the areas. I'm sure they've even got. I think they're doing a cake or a cookie or something that you can submit for the best all around.
Oh yeah, is it the one made out of the Twinkies or something
I
like that?
think that is. And I do know the entrance when you come in to purchase your tickets or turn in your tickets, lots of places to get tickets to get in free again this year. Each of the booths will be done up in the old jukebox.
Oh wow.
Where they've been painted. They've got, if you'll remember, if you're old enough to remember, and I know you're not, you're just barely past 21, but you used to go into you used to go into a local restaurant, and you would order, and you had a little jukebox that sat beside you. You could take a dime or a quarter and drop it in, push a button. Well, those buttons are highlighted on our ticket booth, so it's pretend, and they've been painted, and some of the volunteers have really spent a lot of it.
I think Shoney's still had those when we moved here.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember those.
But I remember as a boy growing up in East Tennessee, where I'm originally from, there was a little local restaurant that had, beans and potatoes. Same thing you ate at home. You only paid for them here. But we would go out occasionally and do that, and there was a jukebox there. And of course, I wouldn't say my mother and daddy had a lot of music talent, but they loved music and listened to it. But it was all about radio, and it was all, for the most part, the country music songs. And now Mom was a little bit more cultural than Daddy, but Daddy loved those country music songs.
So they're having a lot of fun getting this all ready. There's a couple new, the Seattle Wheel is coming back for the Midway, and there's a new family roller coaster.
There is.
Yodi or Yoki or something like that?
Yodi and Jimmy Drew, our Midway firm that has been with us for the 9 years. This will be our 9th year. Is bringing a miniature Midway. It's not, a miniature roller coaster for the Midway area. Apparently, roller coasters and fairs are synonymous, and he feels that it'll be a good draw. And of course, Dwayne Perry and all of his people and staff and volunteers are putting in just countless hours down in the livestock and the ag arena. area, and it just continues to grow. This year we will have the area from the recycling solid waste, Nancy Zion and her team of people through the Keep Williamson Beautiful. They're bringing in so many of the products that are sustainable. They will be down on the air-conditioned arena floor. So it's shaping up. We had a report the other night that all of the vendor space upstairs where the food is made, all of that's 100% rented out now.
Wow.
On the inside space, the air conditioning space, I think they had 4 or 5 spots still left. So once again, I mean, certainly the success of a fair is really on the weather.
Yeah.
And last year
Couldn't have been any better.
it's just a very pleasant evening. Of course, the fair doors open at 6 in the afternoon, 5. I mean, the gates actually open, but the different things start happening at about 6 o'clock. And every night's packed with something. And
Except Saturday and Sunday.
except for Saturday and Sunday. Yes, they open up. Saturday they open up at 10 in the morning, and Sunday that's our senior day, and they open that up for the seniors to come in and they play bingo. Tom Lawrence is heading that up this year for our seniors, and we have limited number of tickets. It's about 500 or 600, and one of the local vendors here in town will provide the food free of charge, and then they'll put little goodie bags together, and we'll have 400 and 500 people that will come out shortly right after church, and they'll start filling that place up around 11 o'clock.
And we have to say, seniors need to register or sign up for it ahead of time
They do.
at any of the local senior centers.
Any of the local senior centers, the rec centers, I think you can go to, or you can go online to the fair website and do all of that. So it's another busy year. The fair continues to grow. It's a good thing for our community. It doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. It pays for itself. I know Channel 3 will be there broadcasting and complaining but loving it, the whole thing, just like the rest of us.
And then there's talk about some of the food, because it's
all dietetic.
It's all fat-free, including.
That's not true. I shouldn't say that.
The
fried
Oreos.
Yeah, you have fried Oreos. Somebody said we had fried Twinkies and
fried butter.
Oh, I'm telling you,
I don't know if we've. I've heard of it.
If it's fried, it's available at some fair, and of course you've got the whole bunch of local cooking that is there, and I should report too that all of our fairs inspected by the Public Health Department prior to it opening, making sure the food is prepared in a cleanly and a safe manner, making sure we'll have the electrical inspectors out there. We will actually have the state. We bring in a person from the state of Kentucky to inspect all of our rides prior to them opening.
From the state of Kentucky?
They require it in the state of Kentucky before a fair will open up. Tennessee's law does not. They leave that up to the local. And we don't have anybody, so our midway, Jimmy Drew, hires a gentleman to come down and make sure that our fair has been signed off on, that the bolts are where they need to be and they're tied down the way they need to be to handle any kind of unforeseen issues that may pop up. And so once all those are signed on, the ribbon cutting this year, which I think it shows the importance of agriculture in Williamson County. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel and everybody's going to become farmers, but the Commissioner of Agricultural, Commissioner Julius Johnson, will be cutting our ribbon this year at our fair.
Wow.
And to show the importance of agriculture and what it means and the educational piece of that. So he will be there along with our traditional thank you sponsors that we have from Tractor Supply, Williamson Medical Center, Vanderbilt, Nissan, Consociates, not Consociates, but Cigna. Cigna is our health insurance, and they really use this period of time working with Williamson Medical Center in doing health screenings for people that come in. They'll do your blood pressure readings, they'll do
the blood sugar.
All of these things. And one of the services we offer to Jimmy Drew, that all of his operators, and he'll have 100 people there, that they can have a mini physical free of charge for us at that time. So Williamson Medical and all these services, because so many of these fair people do not have the opportunity to have health physicals, because many of them, that's their life is living
on the
road. And they are humans. They are people that we need to help operate our fair and make it successful. And so the least we can do, we try to provide them water during the fair so they keep them safe, because it is hot, and we offer that service to Jim. We don't make it mandatory that any of them can be can have a physical. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, it's still hard for me to believe that someone might not know they're pregnant, but we found out one of the ladies was working there was pregnant when she wasn't feeling good, and she was 2 or 3 months pregnant.
Wow.
And that was disclosed at that time and told her to it. So, you know, it does have its merit, and it's the right thing to do for folks that are helping us out. Looking forward to it. We'll have a wonderful fair again.
Speaking of folks that are helping you out, you're looking at the health safety of people, but behind the scenes, you've got people on bicycles, EMS on bicycles, roaming, looking for people that may be having health issues that...
Franklin and Williamson County, Franklin Police and Williamson County pair up together and walk the fair shoulder to shoulder, trying to encourage people and trying to demonstrate to people that it's a safe place. And apparently that has been very successful, because we have more and more adults with children allowing their teenage daughters and sons to have parties out there to go out and enjoy the day. Of course, we employ a firm that helps to keep the place clean. They do the bathrooms cleanings. They you know, a clean fair sends a strong message.
It certainly does.
And you need that. The other side of that, of course, our law enforcement community is very well represented there. Bill Jorgensen, Matt Purdy from our public safety sector, they literally set up for the full 10 days to scan for bad weather and to look at, and they literally move the operation from here in the administrative complex to out there. That's a training exercise for them that they need to be able to do. They set up in our green room, we call it, downstairs, and they've got cameras, they've got monitoring going on the weather, and we have an evacuation policy and written up, and so if some bad weather comes in, I don't know if you were there last year, and we had some bad weather to roll in for about 2 hours, and we shut the fairgrounds down, put everybody inside the building, and it was just heavy rain, but it
could have been worse.
Again, it's this element of safety. We want to help people to feel safe, and the only way to do that is have a strong presence of people and to have a lot of equipment out there that we know what's going on.
Right. And it also helps, from when I was talking to the police officers that are involved in that, it's created a camaraderie between the Sheriff's Department and Franklin City, where now they know each other, they work with each other instead of against each other, which, you know, they wouldn't, but they become friends with each other, and that helps so much more in just both of them being able to get a job done.
I think it's important that we all discovered during those terrible days of 9/11 in New York City, and to some people that may be just a past memory. It's a milestone in our country. It will always be studied and looked at, and out of that came a lot of good things. But out of that also came areas that learning opportunities, improvements that needed to be made. And certainly in one of those areas was the area of communication, exactly what you're talking about. That the city of New York and the state of New York, New York City and New York State, and the local agencies, they had different radio frequencies, and they couldn't communicate as well as they needed to. Would it have averted a lot of this? It wouldn't have averted what actually happened at the Twin Towers, but it would have made life a lot more easy and simple if people can communicate or have frequencies they can get on. We have taken those lessons and put that application into process here so that our cities, all of our cities and counties can better communicate. Are we 100% there? The answer is no, because we each have our own funding agents and our own price tag for those products. But we do provide those radios of communication and those avenues that we know who you are, we know what frequency you are on, and so law enforcement and the medical side can all live together and provide it. There's ambulances out there from Williamson Medical, the bike patrols are out there, because you're going to have accidents, you're going to have twisted ankles, you're going to have heat-related.
Yeah, and the heat-related, or people don't even realize it's happening, and they start showing symptoms, they can't get to wherever they need to get to. So having those EMS people on bicycles regularly patrolling areas.
Very important.
Very important. So lots of rides, lots of food, lots of fun coming up.
10 days.
Entertainment like crazy too. You got a great lineup of entertainment coming.
Diane Giddens, who heads up that on her time off, and Terry Kendall, and then I don't want to start naming names because there's over 1,000 people that are involved in this. We have 2 paid people, and one is our secretary, Terry, works full-time. She's contracted services, and she works very, very hard and long hours. And then the other paid person is on a commission, and the sponsors he gets.
So he's encouraged to work
He's
hard.
encouraged to work. So it's been a model that's been successful for Williamson County and Williamson County Fair. It's not a model that would be reproduced in a lot of other cities and counties, but it works for us down here. And we could not do it without our corporate sponsors that step up and make it possible, plus keep those ticket prices down. Still $6 to get in.
$6. Where can you go for a day full of fun and entertainment? And all the other entertainment this year is included in the ticket price.
Well, except for the rides.
Except for the rides,
And, and they have wristbands that you can buy for, I believe it's all the rides you want for $18. So, and there's so many outlets this year: Tractor Supply and HH Dailies, HH Greg's. They're giving away tickets. We've got several people that have bought entry into the fair. You come in that night, you can get in free, but you have to go to their store, pick up the ticket. One night is School Spirit Night. Anything other than a professional shirt, you can wear a Tennessee shirt, Vanderbilt shirt, get in free. One final thing, we're going to have a food drive night, and all the cans of food that are brought in that evening will be taken care of, taking them over to the food pantry here. And we'd like to, and I can't remember if that's a Monday or Wednesday night, but one of those nights, 2 cans of food get you in the fair.
Wow, that's great. So
we can get back to our pantries in our community to feed people that need help.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and is this the Graceworks food pantry? Yeah, they do a lot of great things. Now we've got, before the fair comes up, you've got a big budget meeting coming up July 8th to approve or make changes or whatever they feel fit that day.
Well, you were involved in the one chamber that Channel 3 does toward the end of the month, the 3rd or 4th Monday, whatever it is. And I think it was disclosed at that time that we're living within our means. There is no tax increase, property tax increase this year. We have enjoyed some successes in the area of increased sales tax. Everyone going out and buying those products, particularly in the last 6 or 9 months, those numbers are coming in very strong, and that helps schools. Cities live with the property tax, sales tax. Counties, we really don't get that much of it, but it goes to our schools, which helps to hold the cost down. Last year's budget was under $400 million. This year's about $422 million, 63%. As it goes to
and
our
the cause
schools.
of the increase?
Different services. The biggest part, we're hiring 48 people. We have not hired new people in the last 3 or 4 years. 32 of those people are your SROs. I think you've covered that, to school resource officers. We now have school resource officers in all of our elementary, middle, and high schools, or of course school is out this time of year, but in the fall. They will. Every school will have.
And that's every Williamson County school and Franklin Special
That's correct.
School District.
That is correct. And so, because of things like audits and where the money comes from and how you spend it out, that money is being paid from the county out of the sheriff's budget for those
That's a big
SR.
hunk out of
It's
the
a
sheriff.
large hunk. Now the schools do pay for the high school side, but the elementary schools, all of that action that was taken in January of 2013 this year to put school resource officers in our schools. The county commission said it was important. Boom, that's what we did. So we didn't penalize the schools, but that money of percentages, as the full budget grew from under 400 million to 422, the money that was for SROs doesn't show up over on the school side, but the percentage for the schools did drop about a half a percentage, but it was certainly made up for over in another area.
Right.
But the school budget, for the most part, was funded the way it was presented on the operational side, the capital side, in order to hold the tax rate down, as we did over on the county general side. I think they asked for $8 million. We authorized $4 million. The county was asking for $8 million. We authorized $4 million and said, hey, if a roof needs to be fixed or repaired, come on back. We'll do it. But if you put it into the budget, that just
Pumps
it pumps it all up, and it gets a little bit nervous.
And that's why you have that
That's right.
that savings account.
Well, it is, and some
Emergency
people
account.
emergency rainy day fund. Everybody calls it something else. I know at my house, I really don't want to replace the air conditioning or the roof when storms come through, or you have a power surge, or it just wears out. But that's why you've got to have it, and that's why we have a Moody's AAA bond rating. That's important because you borrow money, you want to be able to borrow it at the cheapest dollar. Now, not everyone's going to see it that way. Some people say, well, you've got too much in these different accounts and you ought to be returning them. But who knows when we'll have another flood? Who knows on those things? Or who knows when we need $5 million for SROs in January?
Exactly.
And so we hope we've demonstrated, our county commissioners will vote on it, that we've demonstrated that we're trying to spend the taxpayers' dollars soundly and wisely. And no, we won't agree with every single thing.
So no schools being built this coming year.
None that are forecasted. We have the land for a new high school in Nolensville and possibly a K-8, which is a kindergarten through 8. I think that decision...
which is a concept that seems to be catching on again.
You're probably right. Off from Sunset Road, there was a K-8 over there, and then we have one at Hillsborough. It's a K-8, and I
And
think
that's been
that's
K for a long time.
a long time. And the purpose of that is to get your elementary and middle schools together and have a central cafeteria, some centralization.
But they're separated, the classrooms are separated.
Yes. And I'm not sure the school board has made that final decision. Do they need another K-8 or do they need a full elementary? But they do.
They need something.
They need a high school, and they're going to need something. And when we're looking at schools, we're looking at some land down in the Spring Hill area to put another elementary.
So the big growth is being seen again in Nolensville and Spring Hill.
Clearly, it's that. I think we're being told for the August 2013, they're anticipating for this upcoming school year somewhere between 900 and 1,000 new children to be moving into our system. That may or may not be the number that's finally hit upon, but right now, early forecasts, we're planning on between 9 and 1,000.
It really hasn't slowed down.
No.
It's kind of maintained it even all through the recession.
Carole, the building permit situation in Williamson County, during about a 4-year window, it was off, and it was off significant. And I think everyone knew that.
But there were still kids moving into the schools.
There were still kids moving in because of apartments and homes that were being rented. But during this last 9 months to a year, we're seeing a lot of heavy months of residential building permits coming back into our community.
I see it just coming into Franklin from where I live. It's like there's about 6 or 7 new homes going up all of a sudden.
And there's certain subdivisions that really never slow down. I'm being told, I have no way of gauging until after about 30, 45 days for looking at dollars on resales. So if you sell your house, I have no way, unless I go down to Sadie Wade's area and just check it off every day, of really knowing what kind of activity. I'm being told by the real estate community, though, that it's up, and it's up significantly, and houses are not staying on the market. And particularly if you're in that price range of 250 to 350, that there have even been cases of where people are bidding on a particular.
Oh my gosh, it was that way 25 years ago.
So the upper level homes, those 650,
Yeah, 'cause
700.
It's just not, the construction hasn't really caught
That's
up
right.
with the demand.
And you couple it with, during this period of time of 3 or 4 years when government was, Williamson County was different than the federal government. We weren't pumping in a whole bunch of new jobs
Yeah.
and things like that. So we just said, let's stay status quo. Let's maintain what we've got. Let's cross-train each other during this period. Let's get ready for this next growth. And
You know, for a while there, you did some hour shuffling.
Yes.
And stuff.
so now it's coming back, and our people are telling me that it's extremely busy out there. And of course, prices are going up because the materials aren't there and the labor force is not there. So those upper level homes where maybe someone had a $200,000 to $250,000 home, and they wanted to make that next move up to $350,000 to $450,000, and many of our people have done that over a period of years, maybe 10 or 15 years, where they were able to sell their house, make a little money, and then get up to that next bigger home. And so we're beginning to see some of that, or I'm hearing that's around again.
It's starting again.
It's
Well,
an exciting time in
yeah.
Williamson County.
Things
and
are getting back to pre-2008 times now. Starting to look up. Businesses are coming back, and
I'm not sure how much time we have left, but
Just a
probably a
minute.
minute or so. Just recently, we got some awful satisfying news that under the market value of all real estate, we are number 4 in the state now. Shelby County, Davidson County, Knox County, and Williamson County, then Hamilton County. In assessed values, Hamilton County and Williamson County swapped positions, but in market value, we were ahead of Hamilton County, which is Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's kind of been our benchmark for several years. We are growing, and can we control our growth? Can we push our growth out there in those city areas and handle it? Well, clearly something is working, because in the county, unincorporated area, we're holding our own.
Yeah.
Very little growth, still large lots. In the cities, it continues to grow.
well, I hope we continue to grow our audience, and hope to see you again on the next edition of County Happenings.
Happy July 4th.
Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day.